Star Wars Geek Girls. They're geek girls that like Star Wars. And sometimes cry.
Hello and welcome to Star Wars Geek Girl. I'm Zoe, and as usual, I'm here with Lizzie.
Hello.
We are going to be talking about Andor Episode 5 because there is not Star Wars news that I'm aware of. Although we might get some because New York Comic Con is this weekend, so I know things are happening, likely with Star Wars. So maybe we'll have news next week, but right now we just have Andor.
Andor, which is the best. I actually watched it yesterday. So it wasn't just like a week later or anything. So I came home and I was like, oh, Andor. And those don't really do that for me.
Yeah, Tuesday night I went to see a movie with my roommates and friends, and we went. And the movie was at like 10, so I was like, okay, it'll be perfect. Like when we get back, we'll be after midnight. I'll watch Andor and then go to bed. And we get back, and my roommate was watching something on the TV. The one roommate that didn't go with us to the movie. I was like, ah, and I waited for like an hour and a half. She was watching like YouTube videos.
Oh.
And I waited like an hour and a half for her to be done. Then she went to bed, and then I watched Andor, went to bed. It was worth it. And I was very tired.
Yeah. I I watched it yesterday. So I got back from classes and I made a bunch of food. I made like arepas and vindaloo curry and rice. It was very good. And so and then I came back and I was very tired from cooking, and then, well, not tired, but I was like, okay, I can sit down now. And then I like turn on the TV and I was like, oh, I'm just gonna play games. And I was like, oh, wait, Andor.
Andor time.
The Andor man. Um, and then the episodes felt short. Well, it wasn't short, but like I was like, man, we're gonna get like the whole thing. It's all gonna be great. Like, how many more episodes do we have?
7 more.
7 more?
There's gonna be 12. So we just watched episode 5.
Wow. Okay. Well, that's good.
Yeah, every Andor episode, I'm like, what? Especially after, because we got 3 the first time. And it totally spoiled me because now every episode I'm like, wait, we're ending it there? I want more. I want 2 more. It works out because we get more weeks of Andor, which is great. I've had such a nice thing going the last few weeks because I have Andor on Tuesday nights, and then I have She-Hulk on Wednesday nights, and then Critical Role on Thursday nights. It's great. Having such a great little midweek media party. Spoiler-free thoughts on episode 5. Really good. Another, I don't like to say slow because that makes it sound boring, and it's not boring. But it's not like there's like action. There's no action. Yeah. I don't think. It's and a lot of like character exploration, looking at people's motives and relationships, which I love and just eat up. A lot more little like Easter eggs and things that we get to see and hear this episode. Just things that small ties that really help it feel like it fits into Star Wars, and I think I saw a tweet where someone said that Andor is approached like it's a period piece. So Star Wars and the history of Star Wars is like the setting. It's like the way if you were making something set in like the 1800s, you would research what things are happening at that time, what kind of things people use, what locations and events are significant. Like it's approached in that way, but with Star Wars, which I think is a really great way to put it. Yeah. And I think this episode has a lot of that. This is so cool.
Yes. I agree. I don't, that was a lot. And I was like, yes, yes. But my brain is too small to process, so yes, I agree. Um spoiler free thoughts. I don't know. I just really like it, especially because like it takes a look at the team a lot more, and I think that's cool because there's cool people. Like I like Nemec so far. Like he's very sweet and blah 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 and very nice. And I feel scared he's gonna die, and I'm worried. But I like seeing those characters more and how each one interacts with Andor. Um, and that's pretty much all I got for now for spoiler free.
Yes. Yeah, great episode. Go watch it if you haven't already. And I think we'll get into spoilers now. So the episode actually opens up on Coruscant again, and we see Serial with his mom.
Yeah.
And she is their relationship is very funny. She's definitely like a bit, not that she's like a stereotype, but a bit of the what's the word? I'm thinking of a word. Not
Rude, jerky,
no,
judgmental,
no, the
awful.
he's no, none of those.
Yes.
Not stereotype. Oh, what's the word? I guess archetype. She's the like a very much the archetype of the like slightly overbearing mother, and she has good intentions.
Mm.
And she wants to help him be successful, but it comes off a little bit harshly. I don't know. I don't think she was terrible, and like he kind of deserves it. He deserves
this
it.
time. Like
Really?
Serial was popping off against her, and I was like, yes.
Really? I was like,
snaps.
Serial, you are being so mean to your poor mama. I thought he was being so mean. I was on her side. Sorry. I'm pro Serial's mom.
I'm very much not, especially sometimes that's what I lived with. But it's fine. I'm just saying, sometimes it's a little frustrating.
Yeah, but like he's, he sucks and he needs a kick in the butt. And I think she was giving him that.
Yeah, but that's what she raised.
Hey, it's not really all on the parents. Fault. Some people just suck, okay? And parents gotta work with what they got. And
I can see where he got the suckiness.
I'm pro Serial's mom in this scenario.
I
can't, I was this episode, I was like, it's made me sad because, my mom was on the other side of the country and I miss her very much. And everyone's so mean to their moms in this episode. It made me really sad.
Yeah. But also, your mom isn't telling you're a failure.
Well, he is a failure.
Yeah, but I thought moms were supposed to be like, no, you're not a failure. Or
no, moms. I think moms should be honest. It's not helpful to him if he's a failure. It's not helpful to him if she's like, oh no, you didn't do anything wrong. No, you did, and you suck, and you need to go get a job.
Right, but
sometimes it's a mom's job to give him a good old kick in the butt.
Did you get ever kicked in the butt?
No, because I'm not a loser.
How do you know?
Because I'm not.
How do you know?
I'm in college, got an internship, straight A's. Looking for jobs, hobbies, friends. I'm doing great.
To be fair, he was also doing great. He just made
and then now he's a loser because he sucked at his thing. He sucked so bad he got his entire company booted out of a whole planetary system.
This was bound to happen at that point with the Empire.
Right. But, from their perspective, this guy screwed up so bad he like basically shut down their company. That's a loser.
I'm just saying, moms don't have to be such jerks to their kids. And I don't like when it's she's a problem. I don't like he's also a problem, not saying he's not. They're both a problem.
I mean, I'm not saying she's like the best character ever, but like I think Cyril needs someone to be a little harsh, you know?
I guess, but that
That
doesn't
man didn't
make
even
me
pour his
pro
own cereal. She poured cereal for him. Milk and everything. He didn't even get his own cereal.
I don't think he was planning on eating, but yeah.
We'll see, and that's her being nice to him by making sure he eats and giving him his cereal.
You don't need to eat. Eating is overrated. I barely even do it.
See, that's not good.
I don't know what you're talking about. But anyway, I think you're right. I think he needs a serious butt kicking. But also, moms are in Star Wars, not all of them, but a good amount of times, moms in media are portrayed as these jerks. And for once, I would like to see a loving, caring mom, like, what's her face? What's her name from
What?
Resistance?
Oh, Vanessa?
She's nice. I just want more nice moms.
There are nice moms.
Not a lot of them.
And see, you know, moms
Not
don't
a
always
lot
have
of
to
them
be
are
nice. You know, it's not always helpful to just be always nice. Sometimes people just need the harsh truth. I think it's a mom's parent's job to make sure their
to
kid
call
grows
their
and
kid
does
a
better.
loser.
She didn't call him a loser. I called him a loser.
Mhm.
I'm not his mom. I can say whatever I want. You know, and I think it's, you know, it doesn't help him at all if she just pats him and goes, there, Cyril. No, he's got to get better.
I think the way she was doing it was awful. And I think there are a lot of different ways that you could do
I
it.
don't think it was the best way to do it, but I don't think she was awful. I think that's a strong word.
Anyway, she was doing the thing and trying to get him a job from his uncle.
Mm-hmm.
And that's pretty much it. I also like the cereal. Cereal for cereal.
Cyril eating cereal.
Cereal cannibalizing.
Yeah. And it looked like almost like a tricks, like, I don't know, like tricks are for kids. I thought it was really funny.
I
Um,
I like the little box that the cereal was in.
oh
It's like
yeah.
a milk carton, but the
Mhm.
cereal was in it.
Yeah. And it had blue milk, of course.
Yeah.
Cereal.
Which I think was also funny because then we see, well, I don't know if it's then, but we see Cassian drinking milk and he's like, this is disgusting.
I know we finally see white milk in Star Wars.
Yes,
I
and
thought
we
that was
don't
so funny. The first time we see white milk in Star Wars, they're like, this is so gross. I hate this. It's from the cute little goats they have. I love the goats they have.
Yeah.
Super cute. I'm pretty sure they're just like regular goats, just like real a real kind of rare breed. Um, or sheep. I don't know if they're goats or sheep. I don't really know the difference. But I just like that it's like, yeah, these are just like goats with lots of horns.
Mhm.
It's Star Wars. Yeah, I thought it was so funny. The first time we see white milk in Star Wars, it's like, this is disgusting. Where's the blue?
It needs blue. But yeah, he drinks white milk and then he like tosses it away. I was like, no, you're wasting your milk.
Especially because they're like, this is a special milk that like has your nutrients and stuff. Like, this is like what we eat. And Cassian takes a sip and like gross and throws it out. It's like, bro.
Yeah, it like sometimes if I'm eating something, like I'll kind of just like blank out and then I'll just like keep eating. Um and I like my friends and I went to get curry from the egg and that it's like the cafeteria for this school. And you'd think, oh, the CIA, it's like gonna be such good food, right? You eat such good food at the CIA. It's so gross. It's made by the students, so therefore it's not like, obviously if it was made by the actual chefs there and like the teachers, it'd be great. But no, it's the cafeteria itself is a class that you go to. Um, but you can like, but it's mostly for to eat there, and tourists come in and blah blah blah, right? So that's our cafeteria. And I went, I had the curry, and my all my friends had the curry, and like they were eating it and they were like, this is so disgusting. And I was so blanked out. I just kept eating, and like my entire bowl was gone. And I was like, wow, that was gross. I don't know if I could do it with the milk. It sounded like it was really bad. Um,
Just
but
a few shots of milk.
I think Cassie,
You
if
have
you
it.
just like blank out and drink it, it'll be fine. That's how you do it. But anyway, yeah, he throws out his milk after talking to
Yeah.
Nemec.
Before that, we see Cassian on the camp in the camp on Aldani. He wakes up and finds his stuff is missing. He still has
Yes.
the necklace, the Sky Kyber necklace, but like all his weapons and stuff are missing. And so he runs out and he finds Arvo, who's like searching all his stuff, which he says Vel told him to do. Um,
Mhm.
and he's like looking. He points up. He picks up some like nicer blasters, and he's like, well, where'd you get this? And Cassian's like, does not answer. He's like, it's a gun. Mind your business. It's mine.
Mhm.
And then he also Arvel has some tattoos. There's one symbol that Cassian calls a crate head. I don't know what a crate head is, but I was like,
Mhm.
the dragon. I know what that is. But I don't know if crate head was because he was talking about how he went to like a prison, like a youth prison and stuff, and mentioned like possibly I don't know if that's like maybe like he was conscripted in the military because it sounds like that might have been what happened to Cassian, um, or what? Because Cassian recognized it. So I don't know if Craighead's like a section of the Imperial military or if it's like a I don't know like a youth prison gang or something. Um,
Mhm.
yes,
Yeah, I have no idea. I thought the designs of the tattoos were really cool though,
they were
especially
neat. Yeah,
the one on his arm was cool.
yeah, they were cool tattoos, and I looked it up. And Crate Head. This was the first time it was mentioned. So we don't know what Crate Head is necessarily. That's the thing. Maybe it'll be in the Star Wars data bank or something.
Mhm.
Um, and then uh, they talk about like the other members for a little bit. Um, and Cassian, he's like, he asks Cassian or Clem, he's like, so, like, what are you doing here? Like, Cassian's like, doesn't answer. Very vague.
Cassian's, I think it's funny. I think it's noticeable, but when Cassian's angry, he clenches his jaw
He
so
does.
hard that his little like the back of his like jawbone like
Mm-hmm.
twitches. And
Yeah,
it's really funny. Well,
yeah.
not funny,
It's
but
great
like
acting from Diego Luna.
yes, yes.
Yeah, he is like and he is Cassian is like very or Diego Luna is like very sharp features, like his cheekbones and his jaw are like very pronounced. It's very noticeable and it's
Yeah,
great.
good acting.
Good acting. Good face. Good face.
Beautiful face. Gorgeous. Um,
We go back to Coruscant after this. Yes.
yes.
And we see the Mothmas having breakfast, and we meet their daughter Leda. And Mothma is like, "Oh, like we're gonna go. Me and the driver are gonna take you to class, I guess." And Leda's like, "Oh, Dad's taking me. I don't have an early class." And Mothma's like, "Oh, like come on!" And Leda very upset, and she's like, "You're just, doing it for show." I felt really bad for mom. Again, people are so mean to their mamas this episode, and poor Mothma gets very upset.
I have so much to say, but I cannot say any of it. Yes. um, I uh I think that the what's it called? The daughter is hanging out too much with the dad.
Agreed.
Yes. I do think that uh, you know what? Yeah, I think the daughter was a bit jerky. Um, was she
It
semi?
reminded me a lot of in Leia, Princess of Alderaan, where Leia for a while is very upset with Bail and Breya, thinking they're ignoring her and stuff, until she realizes, like, like their dinner parties she's getting shut out of are rebel strategy meetings and things like that. It reminded me a lot of that, and I think it's a very similar thing. Um, and with the added pressure of, I think, Mothma's husband, who sucks, is kind of influencing that. Because I feel like there's clearly no love in that marriage. If there ever was, I'm not sure, but definitely not anymore. And I think he's trying to, like, kind of win her over and use her against Mothma. And it's very sad because, Mothma, she's like a senator. She has a very important job, and she's, fighting rebellion. She's doing so much for the galaxy and therefore for her daughter. And unfortunately, it's a side effect that maybe she doesn't get to spend as much time with Leia as she wants to, but then Leia also shuts her out. It creates this, you know, it's very mean. Everyone needs to stop being mean to their moms. It's making me sad.
Yes. Um, yes. I have so many things to say, but it's like I wouldn't want to out myself. um, it's just I know exactly how it feels to think that your mom probably doesn't care about you because of maybe how much she's working or you know things like that. And it's hard, especially for a kid. Like kids don't understand that. I definitely didn't. I or I guess in this situation, she probably doesn't get to hang out with Mon Mothma, like you said. Um, and as kids, you don't really get that. All you see is like, even if she's working, all you see, and even if it's for you, all you see is, man, my mom's not hanging out with me and giving me the attention that I would like, or the attention needed at all. So, in a way, I think while Mon Mothma is doing these things, like, and it, it's even bigger than this. Like, my mom was going to work for law school and blah blah blah. Not technically life threatening, but Mothma is doing a lot of things that are life threatening. Like if she even like breaks just a little bit, like that could mean the end of her and possibly the rebellion that she's funding. Um, but again, like if you don't automatically see that, then you kind of just it, it's hard to explain it. I mean, not really, but it's you need your family, and sometimes when they're not there, and even though you don't as a kid don't understand that, if one parent, say the dad in that situation, is there, sometimes it's better to like that dad, especially when this one is a crappy one that doesn't that like you said, they probably don't love each other anymore. And it seems like he kind of just does things against Mothma no matter what. From like the two instances we've seen, from like his influence on the kid, and then also that dinner party where he made pretty much all of Mothma's like enemies come over. Um, like the dad is gonna be where the daughter goes to, because I don't know if the dad is there often, but he probably is. Enough to be like, hey, yeah, your mom's always busy. He's not gonna say, oh, your mom's always busy for you, like she's fighting to make this world a better place. No, he's a jerk. So like it's gonna be toxic towards her, which also sucks. Um, like this whole entire scene, like of her being like, no, mom, like that's what you planned. which honestly from that part I totally understand that one, because like especially when Mothma is such this like public figure and this politician, right? Like she's a senator at this point still, question mark, I don't know, please correct me,
Yeah,
Zoe.
she's still a senator.
Okay, she's a political figure, um in public, whatever, same thing, I think, I don't know, but so she has to be going and doing all these things and she's voting for all these things, and when she goes to maybe even a charitable place, sometimes like things like that can either be seen as like, oh yeah, she's a really charitable person, or depends on who views it, but it could be seen as like, oh, you just want attention, um, for doing all these like charitable things. And I think again, because the dad is a jerk, um, I think that's definitely what he was probably telling the daughter, is that like, well, your mom's going to this charity thing just, to get views and like get people to sign up for whatever like cause. So that just, all of it just sucks, and it was heartbreaking for me to see that, because I was like, dang, if like I wish, like even now, like I wish that younger me told myself like, hey, mom's working, she's trying to work really really hard for this family, and she's trying to work for herself, like she wants to do this, like she'll be around when she's around, you know so it's hard. And then especially when at this point it seems like that kid is beyond trying to hang out with her mom, um which also is heartbreaking for probably the kid and Mon Mothma. Like Mon Mothma even was like, hey, that really hurt. um which then the kid, who probably learned it from her dad, was like, see, you're just making things about you, you just want the publicity, blah 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 blah.
Mm-hmm.
And it's so sucky, and it was hard to watch. Um and it's like Mon Mothma isn't really to blame, but also a little bit, but like not really, if that makes sense. Like obviously she's not, because she's working hard and she's trying to do this and this and that for the family and for the world, but also sometimes you just need to hang out with your kid
Mm-hmm.
before the dad poisons her, before she
Yeah,
grows up and thinks horribly of you.
I
So
definitely feel for both of them in that situation, because the daughter is a kid, but it's also like, she is also kind of old enough where it's like, yeah, you should be able to understand a little bit that your mom is a person and has very important work, even if she doesn't know about the rebellion.
mm-hmm.
But again, it's that dad being the poor influence. It's, yeah, like you said, it's hard to watch. I just felt really bad for Mothma. I was frustrated with the daughter, but I understood a little bit.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
they're so mean to their
she
mom.
yeah, she is definitely old enough to like make those decisions and thoughts for herself, but also depending on how long Mon Mothma has been doing this, she probably wouldn't be around a long time. And again, like depending on how long this kid has been hanging out with this awful dad, like that also can affect it to the point where she's already got her dad's mindset, which sucks. And it also hurts because I definitely know, like, just from the way she was talking to Mothma, she also just seems really hurt that like her mom doesn't really hang out with her. And also it seems like her mom doesn't say like, hey, what do you want to do? Instead it seems more like, oh, hey, by the way, there's this thing, let's go. Because in a way the daughter's right, like that's maybe, even if she did say yes, that's probably not something she wants to do. I don't know, it's the whole thing. It was sad, and Mothma ends up leaving because now like pretty much her family's against her, and it's crappy. um so that part was very very sad.
Mhm.
And hopefully, I don't know, but hopefully the daughter grows up and figures it out, and you know tries to amend those things with Mothma before eventually she's gone fully into the rebellion, you know?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we know there's a certain point where Mothma reaches from Rebels and Rogue One and everything. She reaches kind of a point where it's like she isn't in a place where she can anymore just go back to Coruscant and go back to her apartment and stuff. So it's interesting. It'll be interesting to see where, like, when that happens, which we'll likely see in season 2. Because that's when that starts to happen in Rebels, like which way that relationship goes with their daughter. And husband, I don't care, he can stay. Mothma totally pays for that apartment, so he'll have to figure out what he's gonna do. But
Mothma is very much the breadwinner here.
Yeah, no, I don't think he does anything. He's home, or he goes with her to places.
Yeah, that's the thing.
He needs Cyril's mom to get him into shape.
That is where I will agree with you once on moms. But yeah,
I'm team mom this episode.
I was not team mom for the first one. I am for this one. I'm slightly team kid because kid don't understand why work. Why not stay, hang out? Why work? But yeah, it was hard. It's hard to watch. And hopefully maybe Mothma can make amends with at least the daughter. Probably not the husband. Like you said, he can stay. He can do whatever. But yeah. I was hoping that Mothma had a loving family, but no.
I know, I feel very bad for her because she seems to have no allies at home, so.
And having allies like in the rebellion is probably hard because like you kind of can't trust anyone.
Mm-hmm.
And if you do, like, you have to be careful. And like if you're in the rebellion, they might die. It's hard.
Yeah, and I mean, it has to be very lonely, I think, because at this point, I think the only like friend she has, I wouldn't call her and Luthen necessarily friends, but the only friend we really see her having is like Bail.
Mm-hmm.
And Bail and Brea are like her only. I would personally at least say they're probably personal enough friends,
Yeah.
Very lonely
life. Yeah, which is very unfortunate, especially because then if you, like I said,
she's so amazing. She deserves friends.
Yeah. Poor Moth.
Poor Moth.
Yeah.
So then after the breakfast,
good scene.
After that breakfast, we go back to Aldhani, and that's when Cassian tries the white milk, and he can't. No white milk.
No.
Just
disgusting.
Blue. Just blue and green. This is when we spend a little more time with Nemec, the Dungeons and Dragons player. That's why I like him. And he's talking about I really loved Nemec's little monologue where he talks about like the philosophy of the empire and the oppression and everything about them and the technology that they use and stuff. He was just a really interesting character to listen to. He's gonna die. Someone pointed out that the only Aldhani rebels on the poster are Vel and Cinta, which is great because if I had to pick 2 to survive, it'd be them. But man, I do like Nemec. Poor dude.
Yeah.
Then they have a little. Then Cassian gets called by Barcona for a little meeting, and they're showing the like they're trying to figure out how much weight their escape ship can carry, and like the balancing and stuff of it. And Cassian like explains, and then he kind of realizes like these people don't really know what they're doing. And he does in this for this specific thing. He's like, well, what were you gonna do without me? And they're like, we would have figured it out. And he's a little like, he's like, really? Like, you know what I mean?
I would be too. I'd be like, hold on, you guys are being jerks to me, and you don't even know what you're doing.
Right.
What?
He, besides probably Lieutenant Gorn, who's like their man on the inside, Cassian pretty much just instantly made himself the most important part of that team just by pointing out that he knows how to fly this ship and balance the weight, which is interesting because you never hear about that with the ships and how they do that. I mean, they must have to. You know, you're flying stuff in the air. I just never thought about it.
Yeah.
I mean, we do it with planes and stuff. And I was like, oh, it's Star Wars. They don't
Yeah,
worry about that.
sometimes they charge you.
Yeah, they definitely do. So yeah, it was interesting. Then we go actually speaking of Lieutenant Gorn, we see him in his little in the little base thing, and he's kind of like yelling at some Imperial officers. He's like, "Come on, guys, clean up your target practice. Come on, we have an engineer visiting." They keep talking about the engineer. Just curious.
Do we know any engineers?
The only one I can think of is what at this point would be Galen or so. I think. I don't know if they do Galen or so. If only because Mads Mikkelsen probably costs a lot of money. But
yeah,
I mean, Stellan Skarsgård probably costs a lot of money too. So
maybe they'll just be like, maybe they'll just like pretend he's there. They're just gonna be like, oh yeah, Galen's in the other room, but like never show it.
It's like in what's it called? I don't know, like in some of the DC movies or like at the end of Shazam when Superman comes and you know what I mean? And like then he sits down, you don't see his face, you just see like the costume. They'll do that, but with Galen.
Yeah.
You know what I'm talking about? You see Shazam?
Yes. I did not watch
It's a good movie. Shazam's a good movie. Shazam.
I have not seen that. If it's DC,
Man.
I probably have not seen a lot of it.
I haven't seen a lot of DC movies either, but Shazam is good.
The only DC movie I watched was Wonder Woman. And then I watched the second one with high hopes, and then it was not good.
I did not watch the second Wonder Woman because my dad told me it was bad, and I really loved the first one, so I'm just gonna stick with the first one. And I've seen Man of Steel.
I've seen some
Superman and Shazam. I haven't seen Aquaman. I should probably watch that one.
Which one is Shazam?
Shazam is the kid and his power. He goes Shazam, and he turns into this like Superman kind of guy. He's just like a kid. It's really good. You should watch Shazam. The sequel comes out next year, I think. It's really funny.
Heard.
This is my new campaign. Everybody should watch Shazam because that movie's great. Anyway, but at the end of Shazam, they like Superman comes, but they don't actually get like Henry Cavill or anything. They just have like a really buff dude in a Superman costume sit down, and you only see him from like the neck below. They could do that with Galen if they don't want Mads Mikkelsen. Watch Shazam. That movie's good. I love that movie.
Shazam
with an exclamation point.
I never saw any trailers or anything about it.
It's like came out like God, like 5 years ago or something.
Oh, okay, never mind. I think I know why.
When did Shazam? Okay. Apparently there's a software called Shazam. It came out 2019. It came out like 3 years ago.
Okay. Yeah, I don't remember seeing anything.
Has Zachary Levi in it? No. You know him? You don't know him?
No.
It's a really good
movie. You know who I do know? Andor. I know that guy. But yeah, an engineer is coming over.
A very big deal. This engineer.
Yes. Um,
We also go back to Ferrix very briefly in this episode, which I was surprised by. We didn't stay there very long. I hope we get to go back again. I want to see my girl Bix. I want to make sure she's okay. How's she holding up? How's her concussion? She's sitting in a dark room relaxing.
mhm.
But on Ferrix, the Empire is here now. It's not the Primor. It's the Empire. And they have the one guy, Captain Tigo, is his name, and they're clearing out stuff from the hotel. Which is they're making Imperial headquarters there, which is very mean.
Yeah.
It's like, that was someone's business.
Some people were in there.
Maybe
Maybe.
the guy from the shuttle was staying there. Got kicked
Yeah.
out of his room. Poor dude.
No, he doesn't.
They're getting those headquarters cleaned up. This is Tim's fault. If you really think about it. Tim and Cereal.
They deserve each other. I think Serial should visit Tim in the afterworld.
Yeah. I want that scene. Tim and Cereal.
Yes.
I don't think they met, Tim and Cereal. They're in the same
No,
category. If they did not meet.
No, they did not. They no, because Tim was shot by his people.
Yeah. Gosh darn
And
it,
then
Tim.
Serial was busy giving away literally the whole headquarters of everything and everything important to everything.
Right. Cereal. Yeah, so I'm hoping this means we will go back to Ferrix some more, whether it's Andor going back to Ferrix or something. We'll see. Just because I feel like if they're making a point to show that they're setting up headquarters in Ferrix, it could just be a like, hey, this is what happens when the Empire comes in. But it could also, maybe they're showing us something that's relevant later because we will be going back to Ferrix. So I can see it going either way, but hopefully more Ferrix. Also, I just thought Ferrix was a really cool town. It felt very lived in. I was very impressed by it. And also, I want to see the jumping guy again.
Yeah. Pretty much everyone is dead on Aldani.
Yeah. We go back to Aldani.
Not a lot of building there.
No. We go back to Aldani, and they're doing a lot of practicing and drills for going undercover as stormtroopers, which I thought was really cool. And it kind of adds this mission. There's a lot of practice going into it, and there's a lot, and even despite all this practice, there's still a lot of things that they're leaving up to chance, which is very interesting. Cassian points out that he's recognized that everyone in this group, everyone who's right or left-handed, which was cool and shows his attention to detail for things. Because I don't know about you, that's not something I tend to notice about people at all.
Not really. Unless it's very apparent. I did notice his gun was on the wrong side, or not on the wrong side, but it was not the same as everyone else. But I don't know if I would be able to tell from the back of him.
Well, yeah, I mean, it's a bit obvious in that scenario, which is why I think, because Cassian pointed out, and I was like, oh yeah, but then he was able to name everyone else, people who weren't even there in that moment, if they're right or left-handed. And I was like, I don't even pay attention to that. I don't even know if you're right or left-handed. Craziness. But a cool detail about Cassian. And they're having a little conversation, and then a TIE fighter loops below, very low over them. And it, again, when we saw the TIE fighter last episode, it's kind of scary because we're used to oh, it's a TIE fighter. Boom. They blow it up. But this was oh, this is a military fighter jet, essentially. with lasers.
Mhm.
Someone also on Twitter also pointed out it's just like one line in Lost Stars, but they mentioned Thane being given a duty to every so often fly low over areas of Imperial territory to remind them who's in charge,
Mhm.
which I think
Yeah.
is interesting. That's totally what was happening there. There's no reason for that tie to be out there otherwise.
Scary. Also,
And
there was a thing that Nemec said. Um, I don't remember, but it was very specific and I liked it and it's gone. But he was just talking about the TIE fighter and like how, you know, people on the bottom, like it's a big deal for them for that huge thing to be going, but for the guy in there, it's like
well,
they're
that's
nothing to him.
the title of the episode. It's a pretty popular thing I've heard before, but it's the axe forgets, but the tree remembers. I think that's I don't know if he said exactly that, but that's what the title of the episode is. The axe forgets.
Yeah, Skeen says that, but not Nemec.
Right, right. But still very similar. The same idea. Namek
Concept.
reiterates. Um yeah, we also back to the Lieutenant Gorn, who I think is a very interesting character. He's like this Imperial officer and he's still very much doing his job. Like he's nitpicking, being like if we didn't know he was with the rebels, like I would totally be like, oh yeah, that's like a bad guy. And they're talking about like expanding the airbase into the land and like building more stuff, and they're displacing the local populace and things like that. It's a little conversation. Um, then they go back, and Cassian dresses up in his little Imperial uniform, and they set out towards the hills.
Yes. Um, I'm trying to find. This episode I couldn't figure out when was when.
What?
So, like, I could like I have the entire episode in my head, but I don't remember what scene went first.
Oh, well, after they head for the hills, we go to Deidre. Um, and she's still doing more research, trying to figure out this whole like stolen items thing.
Oh yes.
And she and her like assistant, they're looking for missing objects, and they find things from random things taken from different places. The massive castle, Fondor, Jakku, all sorts of things, and they start to realize that like there's some semblance of an organized rebellion. It's not totally there yet, as we know from Rebels and everything, but some semblance of an organized rebellion starting to form. So they're stealing different things in different areas at different times to make it kind of look random, but it's a bit more organized. They start to realize it's a bit more organized than the rest of the Empire realizes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, it's cool because like for those types of things, like you said, they're trying to make it random and like seem unorganized and just like, oh man, this one thing got lost. Oh well. But
Mm-hmm.
for the rebellion it's themselves, like those are important things. But of course to the Empire, like it's like a dollar being lost to
Yeah,
them.
it's
It's
like when
nothing.
like if like something got misplaced at like a big like Amazon warehouse or something, like for a big company, they're just gonna write it off as part of their like companies like that always have their like budget for things getting damaged or lost built
Yeah.
in. It's sort of like that. Like it's just small things here and there. It's also cool because at this point we know that the rebellion isn't quite the rebellion as we see by the time of like A New Hope, but it's the rebellion we see at the beginning of Rebels, where they don't even have like a centralized base or anything yet, but you have like the Ghost Crew, like that's a rebel cell. You have these Aldani rebels, they're a rebel cell, and you have all these tiny cells, each doing their own thing, loosely connected. by a few contacts, like Ahsoka is a Fulcrum agent, Mon Mothma, Luthen seems to play a similar role, Bail Organa, like very cool.
Yes.
I love seeing the rebellion be created. I'll watch it over and over again in all the new shows, all the new movies. I'll watch the rebellion form. I think it's so interesting.
Yes. Um, my brain's empty. But yes, especially like we said, I don't know. I also just think it's cool because like we get to see Mon Mothma and how she like first is just funding, and then but how we know her, she's always technically like been there for every meeting, for every rebellion meeting, and for this one, she's like only like here's some money, here's some things I know. So I also think it'll be cool to see like if she does do that, if she does like, and when she decides like, okay, fine, I'm gonna go and actually do things there.
Yeah, because at this point she's money. She's also networking. She talks to Luthen last episode about bringing that potential ally in, who I still think is Saw, who at this point would have just left Jin very recently, or is about to leave Jin. I assume they're gonna do just left Jin, so they don't have to bring Jin in, and then it's like Cassian and Jin potentially, that'll be cool. There's so much. Yeah. She's talking about, she's doing networking money, but it's when does she take that step to becoming, like we see in Rogue One, she's more of a tactical leader and helping with strategy. And I mean, we've seen Rebels, she almost completely drops the facade to the rest of the galaxy, where she very publicly denounces the Empire, basically forsakes her Senate seat. Hera has to extract her and bring her to safety to the rebel base. It'll be very interesting to see what leads up to that before we see her in Rebels.
Yes.
We go back to Aldani here.
Oh wait, but we also know that what like was it painkillers that she took? What was that?
I know some people were like, oh, she's taking drugs. It's the Imperial, work ethic normalizing drugs. I think it was like Tylenol.
Yeah, I she might be in pain, or maybe she's like overworking herself to that point. Maybe
she's totally overworking herself. I assumed it was like, because when you stay up for a very long time, you get a headache. So I think it was that. I don't know. It could be something bigger. I think it was like, oh, I'm gonna be up I'm potentially pulling an all-nighter. I'm gonna take some like Advil or whatever. Like, that's just what I assumed it was. I think it was to show like she's ready to do the all night.
At first I was like, oh, she's taking drugs, and then I was like, no, she's probably gonna be working for a very long time.
Yeah, I know some people had the same reaction to you. I didn't even think about it. I was like, okay, she's taking ibuprofen. It's fine. Me too.
Yeah. Yes. What's next?
We go back to Aldani, and they have a little bonfire, which is the D&D models with their base. Very sad.
Yeah.
Oh, poor buddy. And they start heading out. They're practicing getting Cassian to make sure he memorizes the different stages of the plan, their signals, all that. He asks about Lieutenant Gorn, and they tell him that he fell in love with a local woman. And they say he lost his promotion and lost the woman, which made him turn against the Empire. And and she says everyone has their own rebellion, like everyone has their own reasons for doing what they're doing, which is neat. It was a very succinct way of putting something I think Star Wars has been saying for a while. Then we go back to Coruscant. Cyril's eating a cereal. Uncle Harlow doesn't think that Cyril should be doing police work. And Harlow's still thinking about exactly what he should do. Cyril's not happy. He wants to do police work, I guess. Even
I'm
though
confused on what
he's
Harlow is. Like,
he's the uncle and he's he's a smart guy. And
right. But like, what, like, it's a weird thing to be like, yeah, I know exactly the kind, like, what is like, how does he know what he will be good at?
he probably doesn't, but he's gotta.
My thing is like, why is he the determining factor?
I mean, I think the thing is like, at least from Edie's perspective, is Cyril's not really, he's not really putting any drive or like to do anything else. And so she's like, well, I'll get, I guess she, for whatever reason, has trust in her brother or brother-in-law, whatever makes him an uncle. Like, he's a good guy. He'll help us out. Maybe he's one of those like career advisor people. Maybe that's his job.
Yes.
Yeah. I want to meet Uncle Harlow. I'm just very curious about him.
I thought you were gonna say like for your career. I was like, I thought.
Oh no, I'm good.
Figured out.
I'm good.
Yeah, I don't think you need him. But yeah, and I personally like I don't like his mom, which is why I think it's funny, like every little comeback he has for her. I think they're
I didn't
hilarious.
see those comebacks. I thought he seemed like a petulant child.
They
He was
are
snappy.
comebacks, but as a petulant child.
He's like, they weren't good comebacks, I guess. To me at least.
I liked them. Yeah. But yeah, he's gonna I don't even know. What could he be good at? What do you think he would be good at? What do you think Cyril's good
It's
at?
probably why Uncle Harlow can't figure it out. Because I don't know. Maybe he's not good at anything.
Maybe he is.
Maybe
Maybe he's good at art.
he could be. Maybe.
Also, I think this was the beginning of the episode, but his eyes, they never cease to stop. Like this, like
the piercing
sun.
gaze.
Yeah, but he was looking straight at the sun as it like, and he just like his eyes. Oh my god, ojos locos. But yeah, huge gaze.
Yeah, and then we go back to Aldani.
Look at you with his stare.
We go back to Aldani and Lieutenant Gorn. He's yelling at some officers about an unpainted wall. He's like, "Come on, like we have a coruscant engineer coming today. Like we gotta look good." And they're like, "Oh, like, but we wanna, we don't really, we're working a lot. We want to see this star phenomenon thing that's happening, which is what the rebels are using for their cover when they go into the base, like as a distraction." So he's like, all right, work on it tomorrow then. Then we go back to the Aldani rebels, and Skeen jumps Cassian and cuts off the kyber crystal necklace. He holds it up and he's like, "What are you doing? Like, like carrying this around? I thought you're supposed to be, like if you got enough money for this, like what are you doing with us?" kind of thing.
Which is kind of dumb.
It was mean, and I was like,
what if his mom gave him that?
What if it's sentimental value? Like, I mean, I kind of understood, but it's like, man, chill
what
out.
if it is fake?
It could be fake. Could be fake, unless Skeen is some kind of pro jewelry appraiser. Could be fake. Could be a lot of things. So the others kind of try and like calm things down. Cassian and Skeen both have blasters on each other. Cameron actually pulls his blaster out too. But then we get Vel yelling at everyone, showing off her great leadership skills. We love Vel. and tells everyone like, calm down, let's do it. And then finally, as everyone's looking at Cassian's like, all right, like I'm in it for the money. Like he finally just like basically puts it all out there. He doesn't mention Luthen. Um but he besides the specific detail of Luthen, he really lays everything out
Yeah.
for everyone to be very honest, which I think was an interesting but probably ultimately a good move.
Yes. At first, I was like, that is not a good move. And then,
Right.
especially because Nemec was like, no, I believe he supports the cause and blah, blah, blah. And I was like, no.
Yeah, poor Nemec was very sad.
He was heartbroken. But, and I was thinking about it earlier. Like sometimes, like, I mean, like Cassian was saying, like, they're all scared. Obviously, Cassian's scared, but it depends on the person. Like a cause could make you go, yeah, okay, I'm gonna do this suicide mission. But also, like, so does money is like a great briber for a lot of people. Probably not for very selfless people, like, usually people who are in the rebellion. But for some people it's like, sure, I'm gonna die on this mission, well, I'm gonna get a lot of money, so it's fine.
Well, only if they don't die. If they do die.
Yeah. But like
wouldn't.
usually you think like, oh, this
The
was
high
a
risk,
mission. I
high
feel like,
reward.
yes, like you think like, well, I probably won't do that since it like is so like, yeah, I might die. It's a lot of high risk there. um but it just depends on the person. um I do think Cassian is for the cause. He just doesn't know it yet.
Mm-hmm.
Or at least is more outwardly about it. But yeah,
I guarantee we're gonna get a moment next episode. I'm sure the mission is next episode, and I guarantee we're gonna get a moment where Cassian reveals he's more selfless than he seems. I guarantee.
Yeah, of course. I think so. But yeah, it was, and then like I thought it was interesting because like why is Skeen going to like why is Skeen doing this? So it's like there's no point. Um like he's already down for the mission. You've talked to this person, so obviously like don't trust him, but like you're like, okay. And he's a good asset for this mission in general. And you guys, it's like the day before. Like, why would you one want to pick a fight? Two, like make this a whole big deal and get this guy out of your team that's so useful. Like it,
Well,
which
I
then
mean,
Cassian is like,
Cassian points out. He says, like, I know it's like like we're about to start, so we're lashing out because everyone's nervous and scared,
mm-hmm.
and which I thought was cool. That he kind of points that out. Very human moment for sure.
Yeah.
Better for worse.
Yeah. So I thought, the fact that Cassian just pointed it out, I was like, oh yes. Get him. Get him, Cassian.
Get him.
Don't let him pick on you. Yeah. And then later on, I think I'm going out of order, but
That's cool. That's cool.
Skeen kind of like not apologizes, but apologizes.
Mm-hmm.
Apparently people can't just apologize.
He said Vel made him apologize. So, but he doesn't apologize, but he explains his reasoning. And how the Empire forced his brother out of a farm he had essentially, and drove his brother to end his own life. Very very sad. And Cassian just asks like, "Oh, what was your brother growing?" He says, "Pepper trees."
Mm-hmm.
I thought that was a very sweet little moment. Like Cassian doesn't, he's very like, "Oh, just ask a question about him," and like kind of accepts the not apology.
Yeah. So it was very sweet.
Good on you, Cassian.
Yeah.
Good on you.
But yeah, and then I don't like the leader.
Vel?
Yeah.
I love
I
Vel.
think she's great. But she's such a terrible leader.
I think she's a great leader.
I
They listen to her, don't they?
barely, barely. She barely has them under control. I think she needs more experience, and I think she'll get there. But right now, she's not very experiency, and she doesn't know anything, and she keeps a lot of secrets. And like, there's so much that's like, dude, like, could have avoided all of this. You just were honest to your people, knew about the mission, like knew anything about the mission instead of like depending on this one guy to know literally everything that you apparently don't trust and now trust. It was such a mess.
I
I'm
agree
sure
that
it's
she needs experience, but I think a lot of that stuff is a bit out of her control. I think Luthen's hand in it is making things difficult for her.
right, but she didn't really have to lie to her people about this. I don't know. It especially because it caused so much tension in the group in the beginning and now at the end. Obviously, it's probably because like Cassian says he's like definitely they're all definitely scared. But it like it's such a huge mission. Like even like according to Luthen, like they don't do this, like it's all screwed. Like they're all
Mm-hmm.
screwed. Um I think honesty is really important in a leader, personally, because you're following this leader to possible death or victory, and like you don't want your people attacking each other because of one guy. I don't know. Again, she
But I
just
will
needs
say
experience. I like her.
for whatever reason, Luthen cannot is not someone that they can know about. Like
Right.
they don't even know she has a contact. And I don't know if that's her or Luthen that wants that. And if it's
I think
Luthen that
it's
wants that, she's
Luthen.
very much out of her hands. And it's putting her in a very hard place. And especially I agree she needs more experience, and getting the experience she's getting now as someone that's inexperienced has to be very difficult.
Yes, I agree. I'm just a lot of like I think it's more so not knowing a good amount of the like I think it's more so depending on this person when she was like no at first like totally like no I don't want this person, I don't want this person, and now he's such a big part of this mission. Like he's like for what I
Right, but
was
she
listening
didn't
he's
want Cassian for the purpose of she knew people weren't going to react well to it. She knew her team. They had a good bond. Luthen forced her to take him. And that's, you know what I mean?
but if she knew her people shouldn't she know how to get them to like him or at least agree with it?
But if she was, stuck not being able to tell them about Luthen, or what's like, if he's in it for the money, if she's, Cassian's not offering up much information to help, like it's, and she, I think the way she went about it was like the best way at first, because because at least she was, I can, I mean, like she's supposed to just like lie and, weave up a story about Cassian being a rebel? No. Would they have reacted well to off the bat Cassian being a mercenary? Probably not. And she didn't lie either way, and I think it would have been worse if she had lied in some way and then it turns out he's in it for the money, rather than just kind of like, this is Cassian or this is Clem, he's going to work with us. And then, you know what I mean?
Yes and no. Like yes, it's I'm
She
not a
told
rebel
as
leader,
few
so I
lies
can't
as
say much.
possible. And
Huh?
also, she told as few lies as possible, really. And then, like, also, I mean, part of everything we've seen with Rebellion, there is a lot of secrets. Hera kept a lot of secrets from the other rebels, and it was for their own good. And I think she was right to do it, because the less they knew, the less they could give up. And the less they knew, the less danger in some ways they were in. I think with the rebellion, there's a need for secrecy and a need for lying, even to your own people, unfortunately.
I guess I'm only speaking from a server leader, to be fair. But yeah,
Well,
it is
that's a
true.
little different.
No, that's why I
I mean,
said
I'm
literally, I
not,
was like,
I'm
hey,
not in any
you
kind
know,
of,
I'm not a rebel leader. I've never been in a rebellion.
I'm no rebel leader either, for the record. I do not have experience with such things. But from my interpretation, I think Belle's doing the best she can with what she's got.
I think she can do a lot better, but
Like what though? What should she do?
know the actual facts of the mission. That would be a great start.
I mean, they had a whole plan laid out and everything. The only thing was flying the ship, which is a pretty big thing. But
Yeah, like even though it's one thing, it's like their way out. Like like I was with Cassie and I was like, you don't know? What do you mean you don't know? Like, what if Cassian didn't know?
they would have figured it out.
I think they would have died. They might still.
Maybe. But I
I don't know.
think they all kind of accepted the possibility of not survival. You know what I mean?
Uh, yes. So it's like this is for everything. I don't know. That's I don't know. We'll see how it goes. I was a little frustrated because I was like, just just why don't you know? Like it's I don't know. It's like she has these people on her hands. It reminds me, I think I said this before on my dad's podcast, but like kind of like Serial. Like he wasn't really doing it for the two people that died, but he was more so doing it for the glory of actually like going out and figuring out who killed this person and capturing
Mm-hmm.
Andor. And he lost pretty much everyone. Not everyone, but like a good amount of his people.
Yeah.
um and I thought it kind of reminded me of like Ahsoka when she was like first starting out as a leader, and she did a lot of rash decisions to the point where a lot of people died on her thing. And that was like that was the whole episode of her being like, I don't know if I'm going to be a good leader. Like a lot of these people died. And I wonder, like, say if a lot of people do die in this mission, like I wonder how that's going to affect Cassian and possibly the leader of that, because it might be a bit traumatic, especially if they did go in this without Cassian. It wouldn't really be her fault, but maybe. I mean, not knowing all of the facts, and then maybe like the weight. I'm not entirely sure what the weight of the actual train has to do with anything, because they say a lot of planning words and it kind of goes over my head. But say it was a number that they couldn't work with. Like, what if they had to leave people behind? And it's there's so many possibilities, and my brain thinks of way too many possibilities and all the bad outcomes of everything. So that's just my own thing that I do, but it's scary. And this is scary. And I would be horrified if she was my leader.
Yeah.
I would be scared for my life.
Yeah, I mean, I agree, but I would also say like she's not in a place where they're not in a place. It's again, she's working with what she's got, and they're not in a place where they can know how to do this.
Mm-hmm.
And where they can just learn how to do this thing. Like they have to kind of leave it up to chance, which is unfortunate. But I don't think like she's not pretending to know.
True. Well,
so I think she's very and it's not like Luthen brought Clem in and was like, oh, he knows how to do that thing you don't know how to do. Like he just like, you're going to use this guy. You know what I mean?
mm-hmm.
I think like would she have maybe been more receptive if Luthen had introduced him like that? Maybe.
Mm-hmm.
But I think she's working with what she's got, and she doesn't have very much.
Yeah, which is usually the
Unfortunately.
case of a good amount of rebellions.
Mm-hmm.
So I shouldn't go too hard. I'm just saying, like, this is scary. This is a scary situation, y'all. Horrifying. But
I think we're gonna lose quite a few of them.
yeah, it would be. I know this probably isn't going to happen because it's very dramatic and very close to Rogue One, but I think it would be interesting if they all died, except, of course, Cassian.
I think, see, again, someone point out Vel and Cinta are on the poster, and I want them to survive because they're my favorites.
I like the
But
other
I think
girl.
I think we could lose Cinta's the other girl.
She's cool.
Yeah. But I think we could lose a good number of the rest.
I'm hoping Nemec doesn't.
I love Nemec. Skeen can go.
Yeah, Skeen and like the other guy can go. That's fine.
I like the other guy though.
Really?
Honestly, yeah. What's his name? I forget his name. I think he's neat. He's cool.
He's alright. I wouldn't mind if he did. I'm not rooting for it, but I wouldn't totally.
If we lose Nemec and not Skeen, bruh. Yeah. Well, Vel tells Cassian, so Termin's in charge, the other guy. And they're gonna meet after the mission. I'm not sure what Vel and Cinta are doing. They have some part of the mission that's like a secret or something. Or maybe they're doing nothing. That would kind of suck. I would be with you that Vel sucks as a leader if she actually does nothing, but I assume Vel and Cinta are doing some other part of the mission.
What do you think they're doing?
I have no idea. Maybe they're assassinating that engineer, in which case it could not be Galen, unless they fail. It could be Galen. I assume it's something though. I can't imagine both of them just being, I ask you guys.
Do you think they're like assassinating people on the way, like snipers, or like I don't know?
I don't know. I really don't. We'll see. We'll see.
Like, I hope it's not something that's important that the team should know. Because to be fair, only Cassian doesn't know, right? From what we can tell.
I don't know. I think we can, like, Cassian definitely doesn't know. I think we can maybe assume that the others do know, and they're just not willing to tell Cassian because he's like the new guy. But I'm not sure. At least Terramin and what's his face?
Skeen? Nemec?
No. Lieutenant Gorn, no. I would assume. Because they seem to be a bit more up with the leadership. But I'm not sure if Skeen and Nemec know, to be honest.
Doesn't seem like they're fighting to know.
Yeah. Which again, I think it's also valid because, like, let's say they get captured and tortured by the Empire, they won't be able to give up. Like, oh well, our two friends are doing this over here. You know what I mean? Again, it's the need for secrecy, as much as it's not what everyone wants.
Do you think they only electrocute you?
No way. Hera got drugged. And that droid that came into Leia's cell had a lot of needles on it.
That's true. Because I was like, if it's just electricity, I think I could be able to hold it.
Yeah. You think so?
I think maybe. I've been zapped a few times in my life.
Yeah, it's the same.
It's
definitely the same.
Thingies.
It's definitely the same.
Yeah.
Sure.
Needles,
they also use the Force on you needles. If it's an Inquisitor or Vader. They use the Force.
Yeah. I don't like needles. I really hate needles.
They have needles. They do have needles.
Like that, I would be like, yikes. Okay, here's everything.
Oh, if Lizzy was a rebel. When the needle gets brought out, it's all coming out.
Yeah, literally. Like I'm like, yeah, they're over there. Don't come near me. Like, and then Serial, like, I don't know. I think Serial gave it away too fast. I wouldn't be that fast, but Serial? If they were like,
wait, what? Oh, when they put the gun to it. I mean, they put a blast through his head. I don't necessarily blame him.
That's like instant death. That's like fine, because then you're not getting tortured. You know.
I mean, I get it. But if Serial didn't want to die, then
the girls that get it. The girls who don't, okay? It's okay.
Okay. We end the episode back at Luthen's little shop. He's waiting for a transmission, and Clay is like, "You've been waiting here for an hour. Turn it off. Go to bed." And Luthen says that he's worried about the mission. He's having some doubts about Cassian, but nothing they can do now. So they close up. They have clients in the morning.
Yeah,
And that's the end of the episode. Wonder who his clients are. Hope it's Mon Mothma again.
I hope it's Lando? Question mark. Also, Lando and sorry, not Lando. Han and I'm thinking about Lando now. Han and Andor were on the same planet together, right?
Yes, they were at Mimban together. So the Battle of Mimban, I assume it's just one. So it would be, yeah, they were together in Mimban. And potentially, you know, if they were in the same company, we're on lots of planets together, depending on how long they were both involved.
Yeah. I was just thinking because they mentioned Kessel, and I wasn't sure if maybe that was like from the Kessel Run and they stole all those coaxium. I don't know. But I don't know the timeline. Does Saw's hair help?
No, Saw is not in Solo, so
Dang.
doesn't quite. Well, so okay, Solo takes place definitely before Andor. Oh man, when does Solo take? I gotta look it up.
It was just a thought I
Solo
had.
is 10 years before A New Hope, so 5 years before Andor. But they're like looking at through a backlog of different things, so it could have been however long ago. I can't remember what they say was stolen from Kessel. Doesn't say on Wikipedia.
I don't think they say at all, which is why I was like, oh, maybe they did steal. Maybe they did steal the coaxium.
In which case, this, you know, maybe some of the things they're identifying as stolen are misidentified and were just stolen by like a random person. Which, because we know Han's stuff eventually did go to the rebellion because of Enfys.
Yeah, and
but
also
it wasn't intended that way. It wasn't part of whatever this plan is.
Yeah, it wasn't technically by the rebellion itself. It was like smugglers and such. And technically, if anything, it was Kira's business now. Crimson Dawn.
But the coaxium did go to the rebellion because of Enfys. So
yes,
it just wasn't intended that way. Interesting.
I did something.
Figured it out. I was just like, oh, Kessel mentioned. I also mentioned Fondor and Jakku. Yes, Jakku, obviously, from The Force Awakens, and pretty much everything that shows the final defeat of the Empire after Return of the Jedi. Jakku's in a lot.
Which is why I thought it was interesting that they were mentioning it now.
Yeah, because like the reason the Empire gathered there was because it was such a nobody planet. And now it's like, so did they have some base there, and is that why they went there? You know, interesting idea. But Fondor, we know, was a shipyard. When it was in Battlefront 2, Iden. It was the mission. It was the mission where you like have to. The shipyards are being attacked by the rebels, and you have to like shoot down the X-wing. I think that's it. That mission with the space station. Or no, wait. That was it was the scene where I learned about Operation Cinder is when they're over Fondor. Okay, that makes sense.
Yes. Yeah. I played the game and I don't remember half of it.
I recently replayed it. It's a pretty good time.
Yeah.
By recently I mean like
the second one
4 or 5 months ago. But Uh, yeah. Responder and squadrons too, maybe? I don't know. Yeah, lots of interesting things in this episode. Um, I'm very excited for the next one. I can't wait to see how this mission shakes down. I can't wait to see more of what my mom was getting up to. And maybe if she does and decide to bring her contact in. Oh, we also skipped. There's a scene in a very nice hover car that Mothma has. It's her and her husband sitting in the back of the car.
It's very shiny.
It is very shiny. And they're sitting there. Mon Mothma's dress is absolutely beautiful. Absolutely beautiful.
Mm-hmm.
Of course.
Yes, as always.
And they had a meeting with Gar Taffy, some dude. Some dude.
Yes.
We don't know what they are.
Yeah,
and
Mothma is doing like a charity thing.
Yeah, she's doing charity stuff. Good for her. We love Mothma.
Yes.
Do the charity. And he says oh, this guy knows more about what you're up to than me. And it's like, yeah, because you suck. And you invite her enemies to a dinner party. Bro.
Dude.
Why would she tell you about her charity stuff when you like made fun of starving people? He sucks so hard. I hate him so much. It's the worst.
Yes. And then he's like, oh, what's the driver's name? She's like, Chorus.
Chloris. Yeah, she's like, he's been working for us for years. He's like, I don't know his name. He's terrible. And and it's like he's not even like the rich guy that like earned it and is a dick. Like this is his wife's money.
Mm-hmm.
And it wasn't even like it was an arranged marriage. You got lucky, dude. He sucks. I hate him. Also, Cyril has the little hologram of young Cassian, and he stares at it very intensely. So I think he's gonna go on a revenge arc.
Yes, probably. I hope not, but we'll see.
I kind of hope because I know he's gonna fail.
I
just like seeing him fail. He's terrible. I just think he's really funny and pathetic, and I like it when he fails. Maybe that's why I was on his mom's side, because I just don't like him so much. I was like, Team Mom, tell me the loser. He is. Come on, he is. You gotta admit it.
I mean, I do think he's a loser.
Right.
It's just like I think the mom needs to chill a little bit.
I don't know. I feel like, he's so much of a loser. I mean, like when I was like in high school and I would like be mean or a sec, my mom would be like, hey, don't do that. That was mean. And I needed to hear it because I did suck, So like, he's a grown man. He didn't invite his mom because an open invitation is no invitation at all. It's great wisdom, by the way. More people need to understand that.
Also, why can't parents just go to their kids' things?
Well, see, like
that's what I'm saying,
right? But you can't. I feel like it's like when someone's like, "Oh, you should come over sometime." If it's not actual plans, it's not a real invitation.
Which is fair. I do agree. I'm having problems with that recently.
Like if someone, I feel like if someone's like, "Oh, you should hang out sometime," like, "Oh, like you should hang out at my house." It's you can't be like, "Oh, I'm gonna invite myself to your house." Like they gotta invite you to their house, or you gotta invite them to your house.
Mm-hmm.
She was right on that. You gotta admit it. She was right on that.
Yes. Fair, but also I feel like especially because she's a parent. Like, if it's a friend, it's like whatever. Like, I have a friend that's like talking about his work all the time, and he's like, yeah, yeah, like you guys are free whenever to come over. Like my brain didn't process that because I'm a little dumb. And then my other friends were like, "Oh, we should go." Like Jane, like he really wants us to go, and I was like, "Wait, he wants us to go? He didn't say he wanted us to go." I'm a little dumb sometimes, but I also feel like parents should want to go anyway. Like,
But also because of his pre-more job, like, she might not necessarily always know where he is or like if it's a appropriate time for her. You know what I mean?
yeah, that's fair.
In which case, I feel like it is a little bit more on him to be like, like, hey mom,
Hey, be this weekend.
I'm in this place, like I don't have like an active murder investigation or whatever right now. You know what I mean?
That's fair.
It's not
But
like he just like owns a little like antique store like Luthen, like where
do
she
you
knows where he's
think
gonna be.
she ever asked to come over?
Probably not. She's not perfect. However, her son is a loser, and I think she can tell him that. I don't blame her.
Interesting. Thank you for your TED talk
Yes,
of how Serial is a loser.
he is a loser, and again, I just want to put him in a little jar and inspect him. I want to, put him in a plastic bag and shake it up like when you're making homemade ice cream.
When you make homemade what?
You ever see that where you put the ingredients in a bag and you shake it and put it in the freezer and it's ice cream? I don't know. I've never done it. It's like a thing.
So. I know they do it like for marinades.
That too. I feel like that's the thing. I've heard it for ice cream. Sure.
Yes, but
You put a bag inside of a bag. You put one bag with cream and the other bag with salt and ice.
Right. I want to do that with cereal.
Okay.
Make them up. Put them in the freezer.
Cereal ice cream.
Yeah. That sounds good. Ice cream with cereal in it. Oh, StarWars.com did post cereal bars. A recipe for them.
Oh, already?
Really funny. Yeah. Like literally the day after the episode came out. They had that ready. They knew everyone was going to be obsessed with the Star Wars cereal.
Which I was talking. Okay. This is. I'm in a marketing class and it's so boring. It's so bad. But like I wish it was like it is interesting, but then my teacher's like, all right guys, let's talk about Chick-fil-A for the 50th time this week. And I'm like, oh my god, can we talk about literally any other marketing in this world, or any other types? But anyway, I brought up like food in media and how like I guess specifically like in Encanto, when it came out, everyone online was making arepas. Like a lot of Korean dramas, like whenever they make any kind of food on there, like suddenly Korean food is super trendy online. And then I was also like, also, even for things that aren't realistic, like Star Wars, like it comes up like the Ray bread, everyone online was making it. So was I. Trust me. Like Galaxy's Edge, they created a whole cookbook just for like the food that's there. And like
we made a life day cookbook too.
Yes, they did. I made the curry that was in there for my dad. And
I didn't buy the book because I can't eat most of the things in there. But I did. Maybe I shouldn't say this in the podcast. I was in like Michael's and I had it, and I just like took pictures of all the recipes that I could make vegan or that were vegan.
Okay, I was like, I'll just ask my dad to send me photos, and then I'll just be like, okay, use this. The
thing is, like the whole book, it was kind of expensive, and I was like, I can't even do most of these. It's a very nice book, but I'm just gonna make it my own thing.
Yeah,
and I haven't made any of them yet, but I have them all. I really want to make. I think I can make a vegan version of the blue hot chocolate.
That sounds easy, right? What's in it?
Because it's white chocolate, so it's a little harder to find vegan white chocolate than regular chocolate. But Trader Joe's, I believe, has it. There's a Trader Joe's right there.
That sounds like a Trader Joe's thing.
Yeah. 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 Trader Joe's. We also have Sprouts and a Whole Foods not too far from me. Which again, it would be
Nice.
like it's a little bit more expensive, but blue hot chocolate. Problem is, it's
Mhm.
not gonna get cold. It won't
No,
be the
it's
same.
not.
No, literally, I
Turn
watched
your
Hocus
thermos
Pocus.
really, really low.
Last week, I watched Hocus Pocus to get ready for Hocus Pocus 2, which I still haven't actually gotten a chance to sit down and watch.
Watch the
But the
first one.
leaves,
Watch the second one.
the leaves were orange on the ground. I started crying. So I was like, I'm not gonna get fall. It's just gonna be more palm trees.
They're not even gonna die either.
It's just gonna look the same. I can't take it.
Yeah, everything's nice and fall over here. The leaves are turning red. Um,
It's just
yeah. The coldest it's gonna get there is like 70.
I mean, that's nice weather. I don't like the cold very much, but like, I'm not gonna get to bundle up in big coat and scarf and hat.
Again, just turn your thermos like really low.
I know my roommates. I have roommates. Although, you
Just
know
tell
what? They
them
might
it's
be into it.
broken.
They might be into it though, because they also are missing fall weather. So
Mm,
maybe I can convince them. There's no rain though.
no.
I was talking to my mom. She's like, "Yeah, it's raining here," and I was like, "How much? What's it like?"
Yeah. Every time I'm like, oh, I gotta go water my plants. It starts raining. And I'm like, okay, this works. Um,
Sad, sad days.
yeah. Uh, LA. Am I right?
It's like so nice because I
California.
know because my friends in Philly are like, "Oh, it's still so nice there." I'm like, oh, but it's the same forever. Where are my seasons? I didn't even I didn't even think like, oh man, I miss seasons so bad. I've only been here like 2 months,
Yeah,
but I'm like, man, it's the same.
it'd be like that. Um, yeah, I think um yeah, I'm sure you probably know way more about vegan cookery than I do, but like you can always look stuff up. And I know some things, not a lot, but
I have a very full recipe binder. I have lots of recipes if you ever want any. I just made
didn't I see you
barbecue.
tweet about mac and cheese and chicken nuggets?
Okay, listen. Okay,
Obviously,
yeah,
it's probably not chicken nuggets, but like,
right. They
like
were
that
impossible
concept.
nuggets. They were impossible nuggets and diet mac and cheese. Okay, and you know what? I did do that. But I also last night made barbecue pulled jackfruit and homemade vegan ranch. So
Mm,
I have multitudes. Okay, I made buffalo
okay.
cauliflower tacos last week, 2 weeks ago. Last week I made buffalo jackfruit, or no, maybe I mixed it up. I don't know. I made buffalo jackfruit sandwiches. Okay, I can cook. Just
Mhm.
sometimes I just gotta have the nuggies.
That's fair. I can't judge. Um, I've been cooking a lot lately, mostly because I keep getting stuff from the like CIA grocery store because it's like fake money. Not really fake money, but like kind of fake money because it's
I get it.
points. But yeah, so I'm like, oh, they have like poblanos here. So then like the next day, I'm like, oh, I can make chiles rellenos with it. I
I will
got
say,
vegan cheese. Hmm?
oh, which kind?
Vio Life. It's very good.
Yeah, real life's good. If you ever want to make like pizza or something, Diet Cook pizza, but I would really recommend. It's a little more expensive, but Miyoko's liquid mozzarella,
Hmm.
really good. There's a lot of good
Yeah,
vegan options out there nowadays.
I'm pretty much vegetarian by poorness because meat is so expensive. So then I'm like, oh, I'll make curry and I'll put chicken in it. No, I don't own chicken. All right. It's gonna have a lot of bell peppers in it. Um,
Beans are very proteiny.
I do have
Eat
leaf
lots of beans.
I made a pretty Mexican dinner. Uh, and then I invited people and they all said no except one, but like it's okay.
I
And
feel that.
I
I
made
keep
a lot.
making food and cause I cook for my family. So I'm used to making like food for like 4 people to have all this food, which, it's great because I actually get a lot of leftovers. So I get a lot of mileage out of groceries, which is nice. They
Mhm.
like everyone's like, do you want a sandwich? Do you want this? And they're like, oh no, I'm okay. And I'm like, oh, now I have no
Oh,
self-worth because no one's eating my food.
yeah. I especially
But
get
even
it because
though, but then
like,
I get leftovers, so I'm like, okay, it's fine. But
yeah, that's fair.
and they're being very nice. I'm sure they're like, oh, it's like Zoe spent money on that. I don't want to, I appreciate it, but I'm also like, oh, okay.
Yeah. I'm afraid of friend rejection. Makes me sad because then I'm like, oh, I did something wrong. I made all these potato tacos, and there was a
You
lot of
didn't get
potato.
leftovers, and leftovers are nice.
Yeah, well, there wasn't leftovers. I ate it all, but
Oh, well, that's also
somehow,
pretty good. No, I made a
somehow I
ton
did.
I made barbecue jackfruit last night, and I was like, oh, this normally lasts me quite a bit at home, and I forgot at home I usually double the recipe.
Hmm.
But I was like, okay, like it's still gonna last me a while because normally it's multiple people eating it. I ate like half of it last night. I had 4 sandwiches. I'm not kidding.
Yeah,
So
my eating habits is eat nothing, 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 and then dinner is eat everything, which is
I go for really long periods where like not that I eat nothing, but it's like I'm just like, oh, I don't have a huge appetite, and then it'll like hit me and I'll like consume so much. I always feel
yeah.
bad because especially because right out anytime I fly, I like cannot eat for like a week. I just have no appetite, and I always feel bad because like when I stayed with your family, your mom was like, oh, "Do you want more food?" I had like a tiny little pizza toast. I'm like, "Oh no, I'm good." She was like, "Oh okay." I felt bad, but I was like, "I cannot eat more right now."
It's also the us being Hispanics and being like food, like me trying to get you to eat carrots, not carrots, cherry tomatoes the entire time. I was like, look, I got you cherry
I do
tomatoes.
love cherry
You
tomatoes.
love
I do
cherry
love cherry tomatoes.
tomatoes.
I keep so when I was a kid, if my dad got cherry tomatoes to make something like a pasta or salad or something, he would always you buy it and then like a day or two later he'd go to make it and the cherry tomatoes would be gone because maybe they ate them all. And then I was gonna make myself some pasta salad a couple weeks ago, so I bought cherry tomatoes and then I ate them all as a snack. And
Hmm.
then next I was like, okay, I'm gonna make pasta salad. I bought like extra cherry tomatoes. And then I ate them all as a snack while watching TV. And I texted my dad, I was like, I know how you felt when I used to do that as a kid because I've been doing it to myself for like a week.
Yeah. Um, yeah, I don't have a lot of snack food, which makes me kind of sad because I'm like, oh, snack food, and it's like a lime or it's like raw peppers, which I can eat raw peppers as a snack, but I don't enjoy it. Um,
I have potato chips and tortilla chips and salsa are my snack foods right now.
yes. I've been making a lot of food lately. Fideo. Been trying to make more of my grandma's food because I miss my grandma and my family. But like my grandma makes really good food. But I made from the Life Day cookbook. I made the um what was it? The is it Crate? The salt place?
I Crate is the salt place. I don't have that cookbook though, or any of
Yeah.
the recipes.
It's like Crate salt fish, like crusted fish. So he like my dad was like, I can make almost everything else, but I'm scared to make this one. Can you make it? And I was like, yeah, it's not too hard. Like, which it does seem scary to do, but it was very simple. It's take literally fish, uh, mix some egg whites with salt until you can like squeeze it and it forms, and then just plaster the fish, like plaster salt, then fish, and then cover the fish in salt, and
I
then
can
bake
eat
it.
the salt.
Yes, and lemon. You can eat lemon.
I can eat lemon. Salt and lemon.
Yeah. The
That would be
curry
the best
good.
meal ever.
I
Salt
don't
and
think
lemon.
the curry didn't have any meat in it, I don't think.
Well,
Uh,
there was a lot of recipes where I was like, oh, I could use seitan instead of meat, or I could use tofu instead of meat.
mhm.
You know,
I like
I don't know if I could work the fish. The fish might be hard. Uh,
oh, if I ever find out, I'll let you know. Um,
experimentation.
yeah, like again, because I don't have a lot of meat here, so I'm just vegetarian by poorness. So I'm like, oh, awesome, potatoes instead of beef.
Oh my gosh. This is so not related, but I went to Shake Shack the other day because everyone always for Shake Shack. And someone said they had a veggie burger. I was like, oh, okay. And I went to Shake Shack and their veggie burger is a fried mushroom stuffed with cheese. I was like,
So
okay.
interesting, like a
Never mind.
portobello mushroom.
Yeah, it was a portobello mushroom fried and stuffed with cheese. I'm sure it's great for people who eat cheese.
Yeah.
Not for me. Also, the buns have dairy in them, so I couldn't. I would have to get it wrapped in lettuce.
Mm.
I always hate that when people are like, oh, like, the bread at this sandwich place doesn't have or has egg in it or whatever. You can just get it wrapped in lettuce. It feels insulting. I don't want it wrapped in lettuce. I want bread. I really like bread.
That's fun. I'm sure it's semi-annoying to hear.
I mean, I can have a good lettuce wrap, but like if it's supposed to be a sandwich, I want a sandwich.
Yeah, you
Very
want
sad.
the sandwich that is bread. My dad used to tell me that sandwich was just bread and meat. And so for when he used to make me school lunches, he would get bread, put a piece of ham in it, and another bread. That was it. That was the sandwich.
That's a ham sandwich.
Yeah. And then which it was good. I ate it anyway. But then like sometimes my mom would make me lunches. She would make sandwiches.
Sandwiches
would,
with a capital S.
yes. Like she would put bread, like mayo, ketchup, onion, like tomatoes and ham. Sometimes we didn't really have lettuce sitting around. And then like sometimes jalapenos. And then close it up, put it in a bag, and that was delicioso. But yeah. I was gonna say something I forgot. But yeah, there's quite a few stuff in the Life Day. I think you can make vegan, but
yeah, I have my list. I have
nice. Do you know
Banta surprise? I can put seitan in. I figured that out. Instead of the thing is just like pieces of beef and like everything else is fine. And there's a lot of stuff where it's like vegetarian and I can just use like I'll just get like a vegan sour cream or vegan cheese or whatever. The jelly orbs I can make. A lot of things. And there's some things that were like meant to be vegan, which was also very nice as well. Lots of things. Yeah. I went to the Life Day cookbook and got the ones I can make vegan. I have not with the Galaxy's Edge. Maybe someday.
the Felucian garden spread is very good.
Yes.
Very delicious. I made it once, and that was when you were there.
Yes, and it was very good. Oh, the cerealian noodle salad.
The blue ones? Blue noodles?
No, I don't think these were blue. But I can make them blue. I tried to make ramen blue, but I was stupid and I put the packet in it with the blue. So normally the packet makes it brown, but with the blue it just made it black.
Oh,
which is interesting. But not the blue noodles that I wanted. So I'll have to reassess how I do it.
My mom made rainbow noodles one time. It was kind of cool.
I think I have to make them blue before and then do the sauce, and then I would just have to drain it. It couldn't be a soup because the sauce would be, or the broth would be brown. Gloom root pancakes. There's another one I noted. There were lots. Kublog curry.
I think that is it like
bloom pie.
Yellow curry on it? That might have been the one that I made for Dad.
Yeah, yellow curry paste.
Yeah, like it was very delicious.
I don't think I had to replace anything for that. I maybe had to do vegetable broth instead of chicken broth. Oh, and I think tofu instead of something.
Yeah, I didn't put any meat in mine when I made it because it was going with the fish. So I was like, this is the
Mhm.
protein.
Yeah. Mushroom pie. Solstice Vegispheres, which are just veggie mushrooms. Those were made to be vegan. Thank you, Cookie, for that one.
Thanks,
Oh,
Cookie.
spiced fog wings, because I made like fried chicken kind of out of just jackfruit pieces, but instead of shredding it like I normally do, I just use them whole. So I can just do that for spiced fog wings, which are basically fried chicken. Lots of options.
Yes. How did we get to food?
I have no idea. We're talking about cereal bars, which is
Yeah.
a recipe on StarWars.com that they had ready. They knew we were going to love the cereal. Um,
Yes. And yeah, then I was like, oh yeah, marketing because people like things that are from the movies that is food.
yeah, I could probably make these vegan. You need butter. I use vegan butter. Marshmallows. Yeah, you can use vegan marshmallows. They're just expensive. Vanilla, salt, and some cereal.
Is cereal vegan by itself?
Some of it is.
Hmm.
Cocoa Puffs are not, which I was very sad about. Reese's Puffs are, which I'm very happy about. Um, yeah, it's some are. It's like Lucky Charms aren't because the marshmallows, but like Cheerios are vegan.
Mm-hmm.
Um, yeah, it depends on the cereal. A lot of it is, and if it's not, it's usually chocolate. Like if it's chocolate flavored, there's sometimes milk in it. Um, uh, and like for marshmallow ones, if there's like gluten in it, or not gluten, gelatin.
Mm-hmm.
It depends, but usually.
Yes. Gotcha.
Yeah, maybe I'll make cereal bars.
Hmm. I made what did I make? I made soup from Obi-Wan when he had the soup, but I it was okay. It's just I was trying to make it as thick as it was in the show, but like it just made it like meh. It just made it like too thick. But there it tasted good. I made it taste good. But that one had I don't think I put meat, but if I no, I did. I put like a really cheap like beef into it. But it was good. But yeah,
Well, this
I
podcast has gone severely off the rails.
yes, but we finished and
We
then went
did. We talked about the
rails.
episode and then went off the rails, which is better than usual. But I think we can wrap it up here, mostly because my AirPods are dying. Um, I already had to take one out, and the other one's at 11%. Yeah. So
I
oh boy,
have
I don't know why I did.
wire pods.
Mine broke, and it was like the third pair I'd gone through in like 2 years. So I was like, and my mom was always telling me like, you should get AirPods. You really like them. Um, and I was like, fine. So I finally got AirPods, and they're great, but I tend to use them for hours and hours, and then I'm like, why are they dying? It's like, oh, because I watched 2 episodes of Critical Role back to back, and they were like 4 hours each. Um, I mean,
Yeah,
while doing
I
stuff, I don't sit there and watch 8 hours of content and not doing anything else.
uh-huh.
For the record,
I don't
I
think
do not.
anyone was judging you.
I'm just, I have so much to do. I put it on while I do stuff.
Mm.
Yeah.
I have not AirPods, but they're off-brand, but they're black and they were cheap and they work really nice.
Well, hey, that's all you need. I got $15 headphones from CVS to plug into my Xbox controller, and they work fine. I just have to make sure I turn the aux port sometimes, or else like Like I have to turn it and get it in just the right spot, or the mic will go out, or one or both of the headphones, like the speakers will go out. Hey,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we get for $15 sometimes.
Yeah. Star Wars Geek Girl is playing Fortnite, and I have listened through those
Yes, we
headphones.
did play Fortnite. We tried to play Overwatch 2 and it didn't load. Well, they supposedly fixed it. I haven't tried. I got into the game once. I had to wait like 25 minutes to get to the menu. But once I was in, like the queue times for getting into an actual match were super short. They supposedly fixed the menu wait times. Maybe I'll try Overwatch 2 again because that game is fun. I'm very excited and I love Overwatch very much.
I
Also,
haven't played, but I downloaded it.
we will try to play at some point. Also, Critical Role, Legend of Vox Machina Season 2 comes out in January, and I expect everyone to watch Season 1 because it's amazing. And if you don't have the time or don't have the patience to invest in the hundreds, in the 115 like 4-hour episodes of the campaign, it's a great animated adaptation of it. It's really great, and everyone should watch it on Amazon Prime because it's really good. And I love the characters so much. And everyone should watch Legend of Vox Machina. That's it. That's all. And Shazam also. That's a good movie. Anyway, the Star Wars Geek Girl Facebook page is Star Wars Geek Girl, and Twitter and Instagram are at SW Geek Girl. StarWarsGeekGirl.com. We have a monthly poll, book reviews on Mondays, quizzes on Wednesdays, and blog articles on Fridays. You can also follow me at Spectre_5, 5 written out, not the number, on Instagram and TikTok, and at Azoica on Twitter. I last night had a total freak out about the latest episode of Critical Role Campaign 3. It's really good. It's great. You should follow me on Twitter, especially if I Critical Role. That's all. I'm very into Critical Role right now, if you haven't noticed.
I thought you were always in Critical Role.
Yeah, but it's just had a lot happening with it lately, and I'm like very much in the forefront of my mind right now. If that makes sense.
I see. Well, for the Rouge Rebels, it's theroguerebels.com. Instagram and TikTok at the Rogue Rebels, Twitch at Rogue Rebels, podcast wherever you're listening to Star Wars Geek Girl. Facebook page is the Rogue Rebels, and Twitter at Rogue Rebels Fam, because my dad posts a lot more than me. And
the Twitter's pretty good.
Yes.
He always posts Carabasting intensifies, and it makes me laugh every single time. I don't know why.
I do that sometimes. I only just recently posted my stuff, but I'm trying not to have too much fun, especially on Twitter. And yeah.
Thank you so much for listening. I was Zoe.
I was Lizzy.
May the force be with you, and goodbye.
Goodbye.
Star Wars Geek Girls. They're geek girls that like Star Wars. And sometimes cry.